Welcome to the Love Pod, where inspiration, vision, and real connection come alive. Wherever you are, you belong here.
Welcome to the Love Pod, everyone. My name is Nathaniel. I'm your host for today, and we have the wonderful Kellie Rhymes today, who is joining us from Medellin. I don't think I'm pronouncing it right, Colombia, and she is a dynamic force in the realm of women's hair loss and support of empowerment, serving as the CEO of Limitless Mindset Coaching. Originally from things we were talking about earlier before the call, Kellie, and I know you have a television show coming up, as well as you're helping empower people get more confidence in front of the camera. You have such a wonderful presence, and I can feel the vibes, and this is going to be a beautiful conversation. I'd love to just um, invite you to tell us more about who you are and why you're doing this wonderful work.
Yes, yes. Well, again, thank you for having me on the podcast. Uh, Hello, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Kellie Rhymes, and I have been a women's hair loss support and authenticity coach due to my own journey with scarring alopecia. And I actually started losing my hair in my late 20s, early 30s. That was the beginning stages of when I noticed I was losing hair. And it just took me a very long time, a lot of emotional turmoil, a lot of struggle because of my hair loss. And I felt so insecure. I had a lot of denial, and I just went through a lot of different phases. And realistically, when I look back at it and I'm coaching people now, I started to realize like I was grieving. I was grieving my hair loss. So I went through those
Mm.
stages of grief, not really knowing or understanding what I was really dealing with. And then eventually I decided that, you know what, I am done hiding my hair loss. I'm done wearing the wigs and trying to cover it up and style my hair in different ways to try to cover it up. And I decided just to cut my hair off. I made the decision because I have the type of alopecia where my hair is not going to come back. Now, there are different forms of alopecia. And if you don't know what alopecia is, it's just really a term for hair loss. But there are all types of forms of alopecia. So for my particular form, my hair was just not coming back. I was trying to hold on, have the positive thoughts, but I had to face reality. And I was ready to just really step out into the world and be myself. When I met new people, I wanted them to genuinely see who I am without, the wigs or the hair wraps or whatever I'm doing to cover up, and also the negative mental thoughts of, not looking beautiful, looking like a man, feeling all of those things. I was ready to release all of that. I was done with it, tired of it. So finally decided in 2018 to officially cut my hair off. And I got what we call micropigmentation. So if you don't know what that is, basically think of it as a tattoo for your scalp. And it gives the illusion of maybe like a bald fade, like you have hair, but it's just cut off. And a lot of men were getting this. Not so many women, but I was like, well, hey, if the men are getting it, I know I can do it too if I'm going to shave my hair off. So proceeded down that road, and now I'm here today helping other women who are experiencing that same journey of hair loss, whatever it may be, whatever's causing the hair loss. We all still go through those same emotions. And I help women get through that and get on the other side and make a decision regarding what they want to do long term permanently so that they feel good about themselves and they can show up authentically in this world and be their best selves.
Mm. I think that's really powerful and really a beautiful expression of how, we've heard many, successful people who have faced these great challenges in their life, and I can imagine the emotional challenges that would bring up. Like you said, it's quite a journey, and then turning it into a way to be of service and to really shine your authentic light, Kellie. I think it's such a powerful story, and I'm sure that you are, a real guiding light for a lot of women who are struggling with this. We hear about it less commonly than obviously men, because I would imagine it is less common with women, and but with men too, it can lead to challenges with confidence, with feeling that that they're attractive or all kinds of things. But I always say one of my favorite actors of all time is Patrick Stewart, and I always, I feel like it's we all have such a unique expression and consciousness. And if I may be so bold, like you're a beautiful woman, and I feel like it very much suits you. And I feel like it's the fact that I think what makes you that radiant beauty is the fact that you have fully embraced yourself and your authenticity. I think that's what makes all of us beautiful in life. And it's a lot of us can hide behind masks, whether it is a wig or the way we dress or any kind of thing in life, or just staying quiet. I feel like when we ignite in others that courage to just shine and be ourselves, that's when we really create a beautiful life. So thanks for being that champion and that support for other women who are going through this kind of work. And tell us more about your upcoming television show. That sounds really interesting.
Well, actually, the television show is already out. It came
Okay.
out in December. It did. It came out in December of 2025. And it is basically a show that helps women who have already had hair loss. They've come on the other side of it, and they've created businesses or services, to support the hair loss community. Or we have a panel, or I should say, and we have a panel of women who have experienced hair loss themselves, decided to shave their hair off, just like myself. And we are sharing real stories,
Mm,
providing advice, providing support, and just really sharing with other women out there that may not feel comfortable, who may just want to hear another voice to know, hey, I'm not the only one going through this. Or they
mm,
may have questions if they are ready to cut their hair off. Okay, well, when a woman is ready to shave her head, she really doesn't know, like, what do you use? How do you care for your scalp?
mm,
Men, they have a lot of products for men, but that's not really targeted towards women, or it
yeah.
hasn't been in the past. There are more, products coming out, but it was usually geared towards men. So women just don't know what to do if they decide to
Mm,
make that decision. But as well as women who are wearing wigs, like some women just don't even know how to buy a wig or how to
mm,
purchase the right wig for themselves. And I was in that situation at one point. So really giving advice and providing support and just allowing women to listen and hear what it's like, understand that they're not alone. And it's just really a way to encourage and uplift them. And as far
mm,
as businesses are concerned, really, like I have one guest who has her entire episode. She has become, or she is a public speaker, and she coaches people on speaking. And she now has a Toastmasters club called Bald Confidence. So it's geared towards anyone who has lost their hair, to give them a voice to speak. Now, they don't have to necessarily speak on stage, but to give them that confidence to speak and share and be okay with who they are. So it's a
mm.
lot of different layers to this thing, but the show is really out there to educate and uplift women with hair loss.
That's wonderful. Well, pardon my ignorance. I did not know the show was already out, and that's fantastic. And I would like to ask you about, you mentioned building a community around this shared experience. And something that I've noticed in community is, it starts with something like a share challenge or an interest, and then like real community is people start bringing all parts of themselves. So I'm wondering about your personal journey, Kellie, going through something where you felt isolated, like hair loss, and didn't have all these answers, and now you've taken a leadership role, gathered a community. What has that transformation been like for you in helping others and uplifting others in this? Like, yeah, love to know more about that.
It has definitely been a journey because for the longest time, when I was going through my hair loss journey, I kept having a voice say, like, hey, you need to talk about your experience. Even when I came to the side of cutting
Mm,
my hair off, that voice continued to get stronger. And I'm like, no, I am not getting online and sharing, my personal private information. No. And I kept pushing it, pushing it, pushing it until I got to the point to where I was ready to make a change in my business. I was actually, my background is in real estate and in real estate investing. So I was actually teaching and coaching people on what we call midterm rentals. But I knew when I started doing that wasn't my ultimate calling. Like I knew that I had the knowledge I could share, and I knew people wanted the information, but it wasn't something that was truly fulfilling me because I didn't feel like I was really, really helping people the way I
mm,
really wanted to. Yes, I was helping people, set up properties and make money and do these things, but I needed more. So
Mm,
I kind of stopped doing that. And then I was just in a quiet space where I was like, okay, what do I need to do next? I don't know what direction I should be going in. And here comes that voice again, strong and loud. And so it was like, you need to start talking about your hair loss. And I was like, okay, well, guess this is what I'm going to do. I had the knowledge of, how to put myself out there. So I just started. I just jumped on my YouTube channel, started talking about, my hair loss. I pivoted and just started from there. I just knew that women needed exactly what I needed. Back when
mm,
I was going through my hair loss journey, I didn't have any support. There wasn't as much support as there is today. This
mm.
was pre, the pandemic and everything. So it wasn't a lot of people, or a lot of women, I should say, online really talking about their hair loss.
Yeah.
Of course, when the pandemic hit, everybody came out and started sharing because people had time to do it then, right? And it has just continued from there.
Mm,
So that has kind of been my journey. It has been one of, I didn't quite know what exactly I was supposed to be doing in this space. I just knew that I was supposed to be sharing and talking. So I'm still in the space where I'm growing and expanding. And like I said, I started on my YouTube, I started posting on my social media. Eventually, I started a podcast. So I have the Bougie Body podcast where I would interview other women with hair loss, or women, or just not even just women, but people in organizations that support hair loss, like the Scarring Alopecia Foundation, people who may be a part of NAF, which is the National Alopecia Areata Foundation. So kind of just building it around people who can provide information, provide knowledge, and share their stories and just get it out, right? From
mm.
that podcast, that led me into my TV show. So you can see, like, I had no idea. I didn't even want to do a podcast. I was like, but it just kind of one thing after another. I never thought I would be on TV. Didn't even want to be on TV, but I'm on TV. So it's just like that's just the journey. I'm just flowing with it. I'm letting God lead me to what I'm supposed to do next. And all of these are kind of like stepping stones, and I realized that. It's just little stepping stones that lead me to the next thing. And now that I have the show, I'm able to now help people become more visible themselves. And if they want to be on TV, if they want to take their businesses or their podcast and put it on streaming TV, now I'm able to do that. And I'm actually starting to expand to talk more about that soon. So yeah, I'm just growing. I'm just going where I feel like I'm led, and I'll ultimately end up where I'm supposed to be.
Mm. I love that. I call it listening to the divine the divine breadcrumbs, or those that but that voice, we all have it. We all have that connection. And I mean, from my limited perspective, I feel like we all have an intention that we come with as our true self. Like I believe we are the soul, and we come to experience the the journey of being human, and with it is, it's the unexpected. And I don't believe in predetermination, but I believe in intention. Like, if we never know who we're here to impact, right? So you stepping in front of the camera, Kelly, and shining your light allows other women to find one another, to build those relationships that wouldn't have existed without you taking that decision. And it starts with listening to God, listening to that source of that love that we all come from, that knows what's best for us. But sometimes it seems scary, right? Like putting yourself out there and talking about something that I probably a lot of women weren't online talking about it, because it's such a vulnerable thing to share, right? And so I really appreciate your courage. And I think that's what makes a real thriving community, is the willingness to be visible, and the willingness to be vulnerable. I mean, people are looking for that kind of authenticity, and when we choose to do it ourselves, it allows us to attract those people that we're meant to support and to uplift in our journey. So I can relate to you, because I feel like this podcast has been uh, kind of a divine gift in that way too. Like Julie and I, we both, co-founded Lightheart Vision, which is all about building conscious bridges between community builders, between people with soul purposes, and whether it's conference or visionaries of whatever kinds. And it took me like almost 2 decades to really start sharing about my own spiritual journey and some of the profound experiences that I've had because I just felt a lot of rejection or concern that what I had to say was so out of the box that people would to not accept what I had to say. So, um, but I'm really grateful, for the opportunity. So you are an example of someone who, took that leap. And I feel like the more of us that do that, it just creates this beautiful circle where we can all shine and be our authentic selves. So I appreciate that. What has been your biggest learning, like in this stepping stone from like that first act of listening to that voice, going into a podcast, sharing more in depth about your journey and everything, meeting other people you can relate to, and now doing a podcast or a TV show that's leading into more expansive work? Like, what's been the through line that you say has been some of the biggest lessons for you?
I had to learn to be flexible. That was one big lesson because I'm a person, I used to set my goals at the beginning of the year and I was on track. I'm hitting it hard. I'm making sure this happened. But this has allowed me to surrender and go
Mm,
with the flow. The biggest lesson.
mm,
Also, faith. Because again, I did not have that path. I did not have that clarity or direction. I just knew this is what I was supposed to be doing,
mm,
but not knowing how I was going to do it, where it was going to lead me to, all of those things, which was definitely something new for me. Again, remember, I'm that person who's like, boom, boom, boom. I'm knocking it out. I'm getting these goals. I'm doing this,
mhm,
doing that. So just really shifting into that more spiritual place
mhm,
was a big lesson for me and putting spirituality and God into my business.
mm,
Like really understanding I need to listen to my intuition. I need to stop and pause before I make a decision. I need to maybe sleep on something overnight and
mhm,
see if a new idea or something comes to me. Like really slowing down,
mm,
pause, no understanding that it's not a rush. If it's meant for me, it's going to be for me. Nothing's going to pass me by. And that's just not the way I used to think,
mm,
and I'm still learning, I'm still growing in the space. But those have been like the biggest things that I've learned, the
mm,
biggest. Oh, and it's also, I guess, one more thing, measuring success. We used to, well, I would say, I'll speak for myself. I used to measure success. You're making money, you have this lifestyle, the same, I'm sure many people feel, but changing my idea of what does success look like for me,
mm,
because it's going to, I understand now, it looks different for everyone. Do I really have to be a billionaire? No, I really don't. I don't. I just want to be very comfortable in my lifestyle, do the things I want to do, and be happy. That's all that matters to me, and make sure my
mm.
family is taken care of. That's all. That's success to me. If I can help people out there with what I have to offer, that's also success. So I think I could say those would have been the biggest lessons for me.
Thank you for sharing all those. There's so much wisdom and gold in all of that. And, choosing to focus on what truly fulfills you is something that a lot of people put off, and thinking they need to achieve some goal or get a certain amount of money. And often we know, I think Tony Robbins said he interviewed like 50 people for Money Master the Game, all of them being billionaires, and yet only one or two of them are genuinely happy. And I feel like it's that trap that we're all conditioned to think like, well, that's the epitome of success is money, is material satisfaction. But if you don't master that art of fulfillment and choose what's right for you, that's in line for you, then I feel like you're missing something in a big way. So I really appreciate that faith, flexibility, and really sounds like choosing what success is to you and how you define it. So being the chooser, being the the create. And I love the concept of co-creation. To me is really important because I feel like our relationship with our creator, however we define it, when it's personal for all of us, it's unique for all of us, I believe. That to me is the quintessential relationship because it shows up in every other area of our life. If we don't have a good relationship with our creator, then it's hard to have a good relationship with our children. It's hard to have a good relationship with our neighbors and because we don't have that sense of fulfillment. And anyways, that's just my view. And I feel like it's different. It's contrasting in a time where we're hyper focused on like science and technology, and a
Right.
lot of the premise of science is that this is all just random causation and like somehow matter just came into being, And I know that's not what a lot of inspired scientists on a high level, but we're living in this materialistic, dogmatic world. And
Mhm.
so I love that when you talk about bringing God into business, to me, it's like without it, we have all these corporations competing for maximizing profit, and you know, it's essentially profit over people, and I don't think that
Right.
has a good outcome for anybody. So I appreciate that shift that you want, and we all need to at some point, I think, make that shift if we want to live in our true the true purpose why we're here. That's my opinion, anyways.
Yeah, it's much more fulfilling. I'm
I agree.
way more less more stressed than I used to be. I'm less hard on myself as well. Like I'm not as hard on myself as I used to be. I understand, like, hey, I couldn't work yesterday. The kids were out of school. All of a sudden, and I just couldn't work. It's okay. It'll get done. But before, I would be like stressed, like I
Yeah.
gotta get this done. I gotta. No, that's no longer in my mindset.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun getting to hang out with your children. And I know you have two boys. I mean, it's funny, those moments when we're in the flow, when we're in faith and surrender, and we know that there's a mastermind behind us and in all of our affairs, we can kind of relax and just appreciate the moment rather than this constant striving to the future. Like Eckhart Tolle
Mhm.
laughs about it I've heard him talk about it a few times. Like people, you see it in the cities the most, like everyone's running to the future. Everyone's trying to get to the future, but they never get there. Just people are just stressed, and I feel like stress is a code word for high achievers for fear. It's like a lot of people are just running on fear, and they don't even know what they're running towards, but their nervous systems are dysregulated, and they're not listening to that voice that you listen to, Kelly.
Yeah. Also, I can say by moving to Colombia, that has also allowed me to slow down because this is
Mm,
a culture, hey, we'll take our time. We'll do it when we do it, it'll get done. So having to adjust to the culture, making me slow down, that allows me to enjoy life even more as well because I'm able to get outside more. I know things will get done that's another part of that flexibility because, here, if someone says, okay, I'm going to come to your house at 3 o'clock to fix something, they may not come until the next day. Like they may say that, but it may be, and that's just like, you have to understand that about the culture. And
mm.
that's another part of that flexibility where I'm like, all right, well, this happened. So let's figure something else out or do something different and keep it moving. Or
You know,
not.
and
It will.
well, and when everyone's kind of operating on that go with the flow, it kind of takes the stress off of you to be always on time, to the T
Mhm.
too, right? So it's like no stress. And I love that approach because it's the old Taoist saying, right? Like in nature everything is accomplished. And there's no rush, right? I mean, just nature knows what to do. So that's
Right.
beautiful. So I'm curious, like, because I know you're originally from St. Louis, Missouri,
Yeah.
and you've lived in other parts of the States. What was part of your journey that brought you to a more a culture and a space where you can have more connection to the land and like, do you want to share a little bit about that journey?
Sure. So really, I lived in China for 1 year in my no 30s, in my 30s. I had to think about I'm like, oh, how old am I? That experience, like I stayed there for 1 year. I was teaching English, and that was just a big eye opener. I traveled, but it was nothing like living in a new country and experience a new culture and just all of these things. So once I did that and I came back to the States, I knew that I wanted to go back out. I knew I wanted to go to another country. I just didn't know where, when, and how, and all of those things. Now, it did take me a little bit longer than I expected, and life changed because I did not have children at that point, and now I do. So it was like years of really me planning. Like I talked about it with my close friends, they knew this, but I didn't really talk about it with my family. So it was really me preparing myself to have a life outside of the United States. I just wanted something different. So I was planning on like, how do I work remotely? How do I knew there were certain things that needed to be set up. So I was working on this over the years. However, when the political climate changed and I saw like the election and the candidates, and I knew I had a good idea of what was going to happen. I knew it. So I was like, okay, I think it's time for me to go. And I did. I wanted to raise my kids in a different environment where family is celebrated, children are nurtured, people
Mhm.
care about each other. And if anybody, I'm sure a lot of people are watching from the States. We're very individualized. We are like, we don't know our neighbors. We stay to ourselves. We have our little circles.
Mhm.
We don't, worry about helping people like we should. And I didn't want that. I wanted something different. And I wanted the kids to experience something different, learn another language. I really wanted them to play football in another country and learn because they both love football. So,
Mhm.
I'm like, Latin America, that's a great place to, you learn football. And, that is what they're into. So I just really wanted to change a different lifestyle because when you tend to go out the country, the States, we're so used to doing everything ourselves. But when you go
Mhm.
to other countries, they have support. They have people in the home that help them clean and help with the kids, and that's normal. It's affordable. And that's another reason why people aren't as stressed and kind of, going crazy because they have the time to spend with friends and family because they're not worried about working all day, coming home cooking, going to the grocery, and doing all of the things themselves. So having that different lifestyle was also important to me. And I can definitely say at this point, like, I don't see myself going back to the States unless I have to because of my lifestyle, because of the peace that I have here. And it's not just Colombia. I'm sure it's in different countries. I have experienced the same feeling. It's just different. It's a different shift. So yeah, that's what led me to moving outside of the United States. And Colombia is not going to be my permanent place. I do know that, but it's our place for right now until I'm led to another place.
I'm really grateful that I asked you. I mean, this is one of the pain points that led Julie and I to leap into the unknown. We went out west looking for conscious community. We ended up on Vancouver Island and had a natural home birth with our daughter. And we experienced a lot of different models of community. And part of our purpose with Lighter Vision is our three pillars are connection, community, co-creation, and we feel like that's the pathway to co-creating what we like to call heaven on Mother Earth. And we feel like it's our responsibility as stewards of the planet to embody like a higher state of consciousness. And I think heaven is a state of unconditional love. And it really
Mhm.
comes out when we're in community. Like you said, Julia's lived in Italy. She's lived in other parts of the world. She's traveled through Southeast Asia and a lot of other parts, and she's seen a lot. And that community element is so missing here. I've never experienced other than working with many indigenous communities and how it's socially organized in that way. And yet some of the challenges in a lot of the communities here, at least in Canada, are that there's still a lot of ways that is just not happening in a harmonious way just because of the political climates as well. So I mean, I would love to see more of that community spirit return to Turtle Island, which is, North America.
Yes.
Because I mean, I walk down the roads and I feel like everyone's in their little box and like there's a lot of screen addiction. I don't see the children playing outside as much. And yeah, it's such a burden for that pressure for for a single parent or a nuclear family to do all the things and to, provide the not only the resources but the mentorship and all the guidance. I feel like it's not a natural state for our species. I really do believe in community where our children can model different qualities of the grown-ups who are that they value and not just two individuals. I feel like there's a lot of emotional dysfunction and lack of a lot of those skills in the West. So yeah, I really value that, Kelly. I think it's a beautiful reason to be and to explore. Also, wonderful, true education for your children to have exposure to different places, different peoples, different cultures, and to be open to even going to other places. I think it's really beautiful.
Yes, yes, they are definitely embracing it, especially my 6-year-old. We all came here not knowing any Spanish.
Wow.
And Yes, and I'm still struggling, but my 6-year-old, he's basically bilingual at this point, and we've only been here for 7 months.
Wow.
So he has picked it up, but he's also a social butterfly. He's an
Mhm.
extrovert. He's out talking, so it does not matter if he thinks people don't understand him. He's going to speak.
Mm.
That's another reason why, he's much more fluent than we are. But yeah, just watching both the kids like expand and grow and experience new things and new cultures, learn a new language. Even the difference in education, just like wow. They're in school, and one of their assignments where it was like to look at and research other countries. So it was like Morocco and other places where in the United States that would not have been happening. Not in kindergarten and maybe third grade a little bit, but not the United States isn't focused on the East or Middle East or
Mhm.
anything or learning about that is really centered around North America, United States of, so just them being able to
Mhm.
expand their minds and just understand and know like, hey, different cultures, this is how they dress, this is the food they eat. Like them learning that is valuable as well.
Absolutely. It makes for such a much more abundant life, and feeling more like there is other opportunities to explore and to connect with cultures. And I mean, I think every time we pick up a new language, whether it's a spoken language or music or any form of communication, it just expands our consciousness. It also expands all the opportunities that we have in life. So us too, like our that's why we wish to travel because we know that's the best kind of education we can give our children is exposure to different perspectives and different foods. I mean, that's why they say you become more cultured as you travel because you literally do actually you actually ingest more different microbiome from the different food cultures and stuff, and then you're picking up all the nuances of intelligence that are present, like whether there's social norms, like you said, like families having cohabitation with helping with people who help with the family and having like more fluid kind of work styles. I mean, it allows someone to choose for themselves rather than just be indoctrinated into a culture and like this is what life is. It's like, well, who
Exactly.
says? Like we're creative beings. So I think that's awesome.
Yes, yes. I'm loving it.
That's wonderful. So now you're expanding into new areas in terms of like the TV shows expanding. You're reaching other. Do you want to talk about maybe some of your higher visions for your life and even the world? The fact that you are a conscious mother, Kelly. I'd love to hear your perspective of what you like to see our world shape into.
Yeah, actually, right now I'm working on a lot of different projects, and it's like they don't really relate, but some maybe a little bit. So since I have moved here, I'm actually working on a project with another mother. She has her husband and 2 daughters have moved here to Colombia, and we are now just talking about moving abroad as a family, and particularly to Medellin, Colombia, because we have that knowledge because we're here, and being able to share that information with other families who may be interested in moving. A lot of times families don't think they can do it, especially with
Mhm.
the kids. And it is more challenging with the kids, but we want to provide that realistic expectation so that people understand because moving outside of your country is not a small thing. So that's one project I'm working on to help people who, especially in the United States, who are really trying to get out and do something different or live a different lifestyle and have a different culture. So that's one thing we're doing. Another from the TV show. So again, this is just I'm just letting God work. I was asked to be a coach with basically participating with a company. It's an AI company out of London called Curve Up, and they help entrepreneurs scale. They help them make decisions on what they should do in their business. And so the network I'm with, as far as the TV show, is called Zandra TV Network. So Zandra TV Network has a partnership with Curve Up, and they've asked us to coach on media because not a lot of people have TV or know that TV is accessible to them. When we think about TV, we think, oh my gosh, we have to be an actor, we have to have, all this education to be a
Mhm.
newscaster or, whatever. Or it costs a lot of money. to be on TV. And that has been in the past, but because of the internet and streaming TV, it is now affordable for entrepreneurs, any size entrepreneur,
Mm,
to be on TV and showcase their brand and get it exposure globally. Because that's
mm,
important. Being global, I know a lot of times we have a mindset, and I'm going to talk just from the Americans because that's where, that's what I am. But we have this mindset that it's just America. We don't need to worry about, other countries. We don't need to expand. No, we have a big world out here. And as you can see, what's happening now with the oil and this and that, it's affecting everyone across the world. Okay. So why can't your business touch people across the
mm,
world? Why can't you get that revenue? Why can't you get that exposure?
mm,
So now I'm still in the hair loss space. So don't get me wrong. I'm not leaving that, but I am expanding to help people be visible, show their brands, and be in different types of media, making sure they're visible across all types of platforms to get their voices and their brands out there. So I'm currently working on that as well. And then I guess the other thing is the podcast is going on. I'm in season 2 of the podcast, the Bougie Baldy
wonderful.
podcast. So we're still providing information out there to women with hair loss. This season is more focused on professionals who are sharing their knowledge and experience. So we have dermatologists, trichologists, stylists, like just different people in the hair loss field, hair transplant specialists who are speaking and giving you information and sharing different options because there are way more options out there now than there were when I started losing my hair, So there's much more of a possibility for people to save their hair now than it was in the past. And I want to showcase that and make sure people have that information. So a lot going on.
Yeah. Well, I think it's
That's
really
what's
wonderful.
happening in my world.
Yeah, and you know what? As much as you say maybe they're not all connected, I see a through line, and that's you, right? That's you showing up and shining, and you know, to me, you're a true entrepreneur, Kelly, because what entrepreneurs do is they find challenges, problems, and then they find solutions. I mean, the first problem you had was your own problem with, all the emotion and the challenges of alopecia, and then you solved it by shining your light and sharing with people your journey, and that led you to creating a podcast, which is that's also a problem that people are not shining, people are not sharing their voice. There's a lot of people out there in quiet desperation, so you solve that, and then you can help people now as a coach to help them you know access even television. It's funny, I mean, I wouldn't ever think of like putting like a commercial for Light Heart Vision on television. Well, first of all, because I think television is dying, but like you said, there's TV streaming services, which that's an important market. And I agree with you. I mean, now in an age of AI, it's like if you can reach, I mean, even just the South American market and Spanish, that's like how many millions and millions of people that if you're just focused on English, which is kind of funny that the States only has one official language and doesn't have Spanish as an official language because there's so many people in the States that speak Spanish. And here in Canada,
Exactly.
there's English and French, but there's also like every language group. So the more we can diversify and be omnipresent as a brand, especially when we're providing a real quality service that helps uplift people and helps them expand their perspectives and step into their voice and their confidence and all the gifts that you're helping with as well. I mean, that's a really valuable service. So I see what I see as the through line is the stepping stones of your entrepreneurial journey. And I love how you're still keeping with your roots. You're still helping women who are, dealing with these challenges today as we speak, and giving them modern information that can prevent even them from needing to lose their hair if that's what's available to them. I think that's great. And now you're just stepping this ladder and creating this spectrum of empowerment. It seems like of the journey of an entrepreneur. So amazing. Keep it up.
When you say it, it sounds really good. I'm just like, I'm doing this. But yeah,
Well, one of my gifts that I've been blessed with is to see the gifts in others and to be able to articulate them back. And that's served me in terms of being a mentor and a guide. I mean, my focus really is true spiritual enlightenment, and to me, that's an embodiment process of raising our consciousness in the body. And I
Mhm.
mean, I could go into detail about that, but I really feel like we all do have these authentic important gifts that we come here, and when we allow that our true selves to shine, it just it ignites and activates in others. And I someone asked me one time, do you know what a gift it is to have a truly enlightened person in a community? And it really made me pause. It's like, yeah, what a gift, because that individual is a healing, it's a blessing force in that community. It's someone who's, just loving people, and awakening them to the greater realization of who they really are, to helping their connection, their relationship with God,
Yeah.
however we want to express that. And it is a real gift. So I was like, this seems like this is what I would like to devote my gifts to. And I really do wholeheartedly believe that we can create an enlightened world where we're all shining and we're all thriving and living abundant life. And I feel like it's
Mhm.
possible, but we have to come out of the, it's funny, this thing that I never quite bought into is the idea of independence. I think it's an illusion. We have interdependence and we have like autonomy. I think we need, I believe in mastery, like self-mastery, and really stepping into our authentic expression. But the idea that any of us are independent is really crazy, because like we all need one another. We need Mother Earth. We need so many. I mean, we without the food that is grown, like there's just it just seems like an impossibility to me, like the concept. And yet I understand the importance for individual expression as well. So I get it, but yeah, it's a mystery to me.
Yes, yes. I could just say just my experience here, though, that whole community part is like, I agree with you. It's just a big deal. It's a big deal that I guess I never really knew I really needed. Like I have
Hmm.
more community here than I did in the United States.
Hmm.
And I haven't been here that long, and that's just a beautiful thing. When people are open, they're authentic, they are willing to share and help if needed, just it's just a beautiful thing to be in a space with people like that.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think it is so very important. To me, I like to look at the root etymology of words a lot. And to me, community is about communicating our unity. And so many of the times when we feel isolated, whether it's as an entrepreneur, as a parent trying to raise your children, whatever, we feel like our problems are our own and that we're the only ones going through them. I feel like this is part of the human
Mhm.
condition. But when we are surrounded by community, we realize, oh, so many of us are having the same challenges. Even people who seem to have it all figured out, they're struggling inside. They got anxiety, or they're worried about losing it all. And I feel like it's true, when we share our joy, it's amplified, and when we share our sadness, it's diminished, because we recognize, yeah, like, and I feel like this is what's going to be the spur of the awakening of humankind, and realizing that we're so much part of this beautiful tapestry and diversity of life. Everything from listening to those beautiful songbirds, that if we allow them to wake us up in the morning, to all
Mhm.
the I think we're part of just such a beautiful system, and we've kind of have had an amnesia in a way. We've forgotten our role. And everything I've learned from elders from various different cultures is like we have a role of stewardship. And I'm sure you are exposed, and your children are exposed a lot more to that in that kind of environment, where the elders are probably honored a lot more,
Yes.
and there's more of like intergenerational connections.
Mm-hmm. Intergenerational living, connections. We live in our neighborhood. There are a few homes where they're senior citizen homes, but you see that their families are walking with them, like they'll hold them hand in hand or arm in arm, walking down the
Mm.
street or pushing the wheelchair. Like you can see it everywhere, how the elders are definitely an important piece of the community, the culture. From even in China, like, if an elder got on the bus and there weren't any seats, you get up, or if a woman with a child got on the bus, you get up so that child and that woman can sit down. Like that's just ingrained. It was a natural thing, and it's natural here as well. To your point too, if we all can get on the same page and elevate ourselves, that would be a beautiful world.
Well, that's what we're devoted to. And, I feel like there's this thing, there's the threshold effect. I feel like if enough of us, even 1% of the population, like the light bulb really comes on and we pass that threshold of fear and we really go into like a state of true appreciation. I think gratitude, honestly, is one of the best doorways to all the other higher states of consciousness. When if even like I imagine a billion people every day woke up super grateful and super like in love with their life, I think that would change the whole scope of the world. I feel like the circumstances would change. I feel like our consciousness is so interconnected with everything that we are responsible for the climactic challenges that we have. Like, the political divide is interesting because, we've had some other guests on the show talk about like experiences in the Philippines and how there's a lot more collective consciousness there. There isn't like the red side and the blue side, the right and the left. It's more like we're just living. And I feel like we know psychologically when you have a blue side and a red side and someone identifies as the other side, they villainize the other side. And it's like we need to learn how to be seeing the either and, not the either or. And it's like
Right.
we add value to, if anything, I think a lot about, because Canada is a lot more socialized, and I feel like socialism can lead to extremes where we see like, like totalitarian, like forced, like standardization, and everyone has to do the same thing. And like communism is not a good situation. Neither is like extreme forms of capitalism, is just fascism. But
Mhm.
free economies where people can grow businesses and be entrepreneurs is important, and yet taking care of people who have complex needs, like and seniors and all the social functions are also important. Like, why do we
Right.
need to have a side? Like, let's make a society that's enlightened. Anyways, I feel like we have an opportunity now in this era. We're more connected than ever. I mean, we're having a
Mhm.
conversation thousands of miles apart on video. Talk about live streaming. We're live streaming to YouTube right now. I mean, it's pretty magical. If we were like even 100 years ago, we are super wizards right now, Kelly.
Exactly.
I would love to ask you, how can people connect with you? Whether it's working with you as a coach, connecting with you, maybe they're interested in being on your podcast. What's the best ways to connect with you?
The best way to connect with me is through my website. So my website is limitlessmindsetcoach.com. On there, you can just enter your information. You can send me a message. If you want to book a call with me, you can do everything. You can see the podcast. Everything is on the website. So yeah, just check it out, limitlessmindsetcoach.com, and
That's wonderful.
you can find me.
That's great. We'll be sure to put that in the show notes as well. And I'd like to extend invitation to you if you feel called to join our school community. I don't know if you've been on School, the platform, but it's a beautiful place to connect with community and find resonant people who have shared passions and things. So you're certainly welcome there, as well as our listeners as well, Kelly. I want to ask you one last question before we wrap up for today. And it is, if you had a magic megaphone, an unlimited mindset amplifier for the world, and everyone could hear you, what would you share with
Mhm.
everyone?
Oh, what would I share with everyone? I would say respect everyone's individuality and also have empathy.
Hmm.
Everyone is different, and that's what makes us all beautiful. We don't have to fight if we're different, you know? How about we look at each other's gifts instead of trying to fight over it? How do we look at each other's gifts and work together and make something even more beautiful and magical? That is what I think I would share. That's one piece. And then my ultimate, like, this is my motto for life. It's called life, right? And it's live in freedom every day. Like live life in freedom every single day. Whatever that looks like for you, that's what you do. Whatever makes you happy when you wake up in the morning, that is what you need to be doing. So that's what I would offer.
Oh, that's near to my heart. I love acronyms. If you knew all the acronyms I use, live in freedom every day. I love that acronym for life. I have a few that I've heard in the last couple days, and I really love that one, Kelly. Thank you for sharing that. Live in freedom every day. What a powerful message. And to treat everyone with that beautiful, empathetic appreciation of our individuality. Beautiful messages. I really appreciate you coming on the show. Appreciate your presence. I wish you and your beautiful family and all the ones you touch highest blessings. Is there anything else that you would like to share before I welcome our daughter Luciana to thank us all for watching?
Oh, no, just make sure you guys go check out the Bougie Baldy TV show on Zandra TV Network, or you can listen to my podcast on YouTube, the Bougie Baldy podcast. That's
That's
it.
that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Kelly. We'll be sure to put that in the show notes once we edit after the live stream. Well, thank you again for coming, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
And thank you for having me again.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. All right, folks. Have a wonderful rest of the day, everyone listening, and we'll see you next time. Blessings.
Thanks for watching. You say ciao ciao.
Bye.
I love you so much.